So we come to the last part of our topic, that topic about port watches, etc., which is chief officers, night orders, standing orders, etc., which is also easy to recollect because you have followed them. So let us have a look at that, which will take care of the topic. Night orders, standing orders. So when we say of night orders, this is not comprehensive. We are only going to discuss. You may add on to it, and I would suggest that you come up with ideas which we can add here. Right, you can see the shared screen. Shall we start? Very interestingly, you have been going through it, but recommended is that the watch officers should read the night orders, standing orders, review them in mid watch, and a third time before the end of the watch so that nothing is missed out. 3 times they should go through it, read it, understand it. If not, they have to ask questions to the chief officer if they have not followed anything. But recommended is that you review it also and one last time before you end the watch so that you're fully conversant with whatever the chief officer wants. I mean, this is something you will have to drill to your duty officers. Standing orders obviously will cover general requirements for any safe port operation. It is generic, it is not customized for that port. Standing orders. On the other hand, when you are writing, as you also are writing night orders, those will pertain to what is the requirement for this particular port and this particular cargo which you are operating on. General requirements for safe operation and in all ports, coupled with the loading plan. So, standing orders may vary from chief officer to chief officer, but some of the points will be common or will be included in every standing order or maybe by any chief officer. A very common line written, which is all officers are to read, understand, and sign the relevant loading discharge plan. First thing is to read, understand, and sign the relevant loading plan or discharge plan. Then after the watch has been taken over, the officer who is relieving, the one who is taking over the watch, must ensure that all valves etc. have been set correctly for the operation in progress. This could be for a tanker, but for a bulk carrier it could be that all holds have been opened out, locked in position for the operation which is going to happen in this watch. You could change it for a bulk carrier. And for a tanker operation, maybe different grades are being loaded. So completion of each grade, relevant valves no longer required should be closed. And of course, when the cargo is getting over, then the draining of top lines and valves should be closed. This is going in the standing order. This is required to be written in the standing order because the standing order, although the deck officers are familiar with what is the operation, this is supposed to be a good tool for recollection. Good tool so nothing gets missed out. Completion of cargo, waiting period for static accumulation cargo, all alleges, tank depths, etc. to be checked. What happens? This is for tanker. What happens if you are on a dry cargo ship after completion of all cargo? Very importantly, you will put it down in the standing orders that after completion of each hold, whether loading, it will be basically for discharge. After completion of discharge of each hold should be inspected thoroughly for any damages and recorded. I'm sure people who have worked as duty officers on bulk carriers are aware of this. Or anything you want to add? Candidates who have worked on bulk carriers and who have seen standing orders of a chief officer, which they are going to write themselves down if they happen to land up on a bulk carrier. So anything what they see very commonly regarding cargo operation on a dry cargo ship. Periodically, the rate of loading / discharging should be calculated by the watch officer, and any discrepancy or any deviation from the norm or expected rate is to be investigated and of course notified to me. You can write this as chief officer. Any deviation, departure from the norm or expected rate to be immediately brought to my notice. Because please remember, for a dry cargo ship, loading bulk in cargo, high loading rates are not really suitably advised, and of course, we have discussed it. This can lead to structural damage. So, the loading rate should be carefully monitored. Excessive loading rate can lead to structural failure, which we have talked about. The factors which can lead to structural failure, one of the things are high loading rate. Can a high discharge rate cause damage? High discharge rate. No idea? No input?
नो सर।
जी सॉरी से बोलिए।
हाई रेट होने से वॉल्व पे कोई इफेक्ट नहीं होता है, अगर या तो वॉल्व प्रेशर सर्ज नहीं होना चाहिए, बस सर।
Okay, I think maybe I was not clear. I was saying that we have discussed about high loading rate on a bulk carrier. We have discussed it. But I'm saying, and we have also realized when we discussed that high loading rate on a bulk carrier can lead to structural damage. That is agreed. That we have already talked about. But what about high discharge rate on a bulk carrier? Can it cause a structural damage or can it cause any damage? आप बोलिए आप क्या बोल रहे थे? Maybe my interaction was not clear. If you follow now, क्या हुआ? आप चुप हो गए? See, discharge rate high means what? It can only be high if there are 3 grabs in use, 4 grabs in use, maybe short gear and 4 grabs being used to discharge. Now, if the discharge rate from each hold is not even and there is a discrepancy from one hold discharge rate is so much, other hold is so much, then it can be uneven discharge. Now, that can of course lead to some kind of damage. But for discharge rates discrepancies, the structural failures will not be immediately evident. This will take over a long time. Means repeated acts like this can lead to structural failure. Localized stresses may occur because of uneven discharge rates, but this will take over a period of time to have effect. Yes, somebody was saying something, then he kept quiet. I don't know why. You're most welcome to interact. We are looking at standing orders, and this could be a part. This could be a part that any rate of loading slash discharging which has been estimated and incorporated into the cargo plan. If there is any departure from this, this should be brought to my notice. But before we do that, also you can insist to your duty officer, firstly, that if there is a departure, kindly investigate and then call me. That he should be prepared with an answer why it is happening. It is not enough just to inform. It is also important to make a statement what he thinks is causing it so that you also have a lead to work on. Call Chief Officer immediately if any doubt regarding cargo handling situation or operation. A generic thing, but it still has to be mentioned in the standing orders so that well documented. Cargo officer who is on watch must maintain adequate number of people on deck at all times to meet operational requirements. For this reason, you can add the rotation of people who can be called. Maybe you will suggest to him in case you need from 2000 to 2400, you may call AB1, AB2. If you need people from 000 to 0600, you can call Teddy was 1, Tech Cadet, and maybe one more guy, AB3 maybe. You can also suggest the people who can be called on deck to meet additional requirements because this is part of your job to organize a port watch. So you can suggest here whom to call at what time, depending on the time and the requirement. What do you say? Can it be added here? I think so. Manpower to be enabled for tech watch officer is of course something which you have to ensure as chief officer. But then organization of the manpower is also under your purview. So you must write whom to call and when to call, if required, because you are the person who will decide their hours of work, the hours of rest, etc. So taking into that account, you may devise a plan to whom to be called in case additional manpower is required. In certain cases which are critical, cargo operation has to be immediately stopped. When we talk of fire on the vessel or on the pier, cargo operation must be immediately stopped. It is possible that you have fire on the pier, maybe not on the vessel, but now you are in jeopardy because there is a fire on the pier for a reason. Then cargo operation has to be immediately stopped. Overflows, leakages or spill of cargo onto deck or other space other than a cargo tank, operation must stop. Surging of the vessel. Surging of the vessel along the pier, it is a dangerous thing. It can lead to parting of mooring lines. It can lead to disconnection of hoses connected to anything. So, if you observe surging of the vessel along the pier, cargo operation is the first thing to be stopped. Then you will take rear guard action. But first you stop cargo operations so that nothing goes amiss. Thunder and lightning in the vicinity of the vessel. Cargo operation should stop and chief officer notified. He cannot stop the lightning, he cannot stop the storms, but he can take action, rear guard action. Maybe advise master to call tugs in case the weather is picking up or something like that. But he has to be kept in the loop. Thunder and lightning in the vicinity of the vessel. First thing is to stop the cargo operation and then call chief officer who will then advise master and a rear guard action can be taken. Obviously, in today's modern scenario, with weather fixes available, with port also involved, this is not going to be abrupt. Let us hope so. It is not going to be really abrupt, suddenly. This is going to be predicted, and maybe the vessel will be already prepared for it. But notwithstanding that, it is a good idea to stop cargo operations if something like this happens. Occurrence of any incident or accident which requires full attention of the cargo watch officer. So in this case also, because he may be detracted, his attention may be diverted to manage cargo operation, he will stop cargo operation first. Anything which is warranting full attention of the cargo officer and detracting him from his ability to manage cargo operation, so he can stop the cargo operation and then focus on that particular incident or accident which has occurred. This is going in the standing orders. Any cargo contamination situation discovered is warranting stoppage of cargo operation so that this is not multiplied. Any misunderstanding or discrepancy or disagreement with the shore regarding significant cargo function, maybe the rates, maybe connection of the hoses, maybe disconnection of the hoses, misunderstanding, miscommunication with the shore will warrant firstly to stop the cargo operation and then to call chief officer. If you cite you are telling your chief of duty officer, if you sight any hazardous situation on ship or pier which could result in fire or spill, then of course everything has to put a stop. So this actually is the list, suggested list. Of course, you can add on to it. This is a suggested list when the cargo operation has to be stopped immediately. This one. This is the list, suggested list. But having said that, chief officer to be called immediately after ordering the stop for any of these events. So this is going to lead to calling chief officer on deck. Firstly, you stop the cargo operation to take control of the situation itself. Then you call chief officer. Or maybe if you got the manpower, somebody calls in while you stop the cargo operation, or vice versa. It could be done simultaneously also. There was some suggestions for standing orders. Anything you would like to add to here by your experience, by the way you have conducted yourself as duty officer? Any point which you would like to add for stopping cargo operation?
क्वेश्चन फिर से पूछेंगे सर?
तो ये कह रहा था कि हमने बात की है इन सिचुएशंस, examples of situations where you will stop cargo operation, right? ये वाले example हमने बात की, ये ऐसे चले हम. We have taken examples and then we have said after any one of these incidents lead to stoppage of cargo operation, you should call chief officer. And I also said that you can call him simultaneously, or maybe you can first stop the cargo operation, then call him. Obviously, if you have got no choice, you are the one who is going to stop and you are the one who is going to call chief officer, then of course, my suggestion, first stop the operation, then call chief officer. Right, we have done that, we understood that. Now my interaction with you was that having gone through this list, using your experience as duty officer, do you have anything to add to it where you will
सर
stop
एक
cargo?
बार स्लाइड ऊपर करना सर, थोड़ी सी स्लाइड ऊपर करना सर, थोड़ी सी
Okay.
बस सर यहाँ पे. सर कभी कभी जैसे कार्गो डिस्चार्जिंग के टाइम पे या लोडिंग के टाइम पे
जी.
फिगर कंपेयर करते हैं किसी किसी पोर्ट्स में ना, तो अगर वो फिगर्स की में ज़्यादा डिफरेंस आ जाए चलते हुए में, तो सर वो इसकी अलेजिंग वगैरह के लिए थोड़ा टाइम के लिए कार्गो बंद करवा देते हैं अगर डिफरेंसेस ज़्यादा हो गए हैं जो चलते हुए, मतलब लोडिंग या डिस्चार्जिंग हो रही है कभी कभी. जैसे सर ये नाइजीरियन पोर्ट्स पे या जैसे टोगो वगैरह में, लोमे, कोटोनू एक्सेट्रा में, वहाँ पे सर.
Okay. You have a discrepancy in the figure, which is being, you know,
वाइल लोडिंग और डिस्चार्जिंग, तो कभी कभी जैसे हर घंटे फिगर लेने आते हैं तो
कौन लेने
उस
आते हैं?
टाइम. हाँ जी सर.
कौन लेने आते हैं?
सर सर्वेयर्स वगैरह.
अच्छा, सर्वे. ओके.
सर्वेयर्स आ गए या टर्मिनल से कोई आ गया देखने की चेक करवाओ, या लोडिंग के इस पे वॉकी टॉकी पे पूछ लिया, तो कभी कभी अगर फिगर में बहुत ज़्यादा लाइक डिफरेंस आ गया, लाइक 1 घंटे 2 घंटे 3 घंटे में ऑलरेडी काफ़ी डिफरेंस क्रिएट हो गया, तो कभी कभी.
But actually speaking, Chetan, you when you started, you had said you were corrected. I mean, I was not very comfortable when you say that every hour you are checking, which is not really feasible.
Sir, not feasible, that is okay, sir, but it has happened to me only. When I was a junior officer in somewhere in Lome, I don't remember the place, somewhere in Lome,
Okay.
they were asking about the figures every hour, like whatever I was
Every
writing.
hour. Every
Yeah,
hour.
every hour. They were
Okay.
checking every hour. The figures were checking every hour. They were like around, it was a product tanker and around 10 samples. 10, sorry, not 10 samples, 10 different types of grades. Okay. 10 parcels, grades were 3, 10 parcels were there, which was nominated to 12 other people. So there were multiple surveyors, so they was coming every hour to check the figures. Okay. And
Okay.
in that proportion, for like 2 to 3 hours, there was some difference. And when it increased to like 300 or 500, there was some calculation mistake. There was nothing else, but there was some like the figure went off like by 300, 400. So they said stop it, stop the cargo. We will go for alleging one more time. So
Okay.
they stopped the cargo. They went for alleging. They came back after 1 hour. They calculated. They said everything is okay. Now start again.
Okay. But Chetan, can we just hold on for a minute? You said there were about 8 to 10 parcels, different grades, right?
No, sir. Like how to say? Like sir, 16 tanks. There were three different grades. Okay, and these three grades were nominations to like 12 different parcels. So one was to Shell, one was to Carioca, one was to some other company, some was to some other company. So there were like 12 surveyors for the 12 people.
Okay.
So they were checking the figures and the parcels were keep on changing. This was in, I forgot the name.
Chalega, chalega, no problem. We understand what you're saying. At least I understand what you're saying.
Dar es Salaam, Dar es Salaam, Dar es Salaam.
Dar es Salaam,
At
Tanzania,
SDM, yeah,
Tanzania,
at SDM, Dar es Salaam.
ईस्ट अफ्रीका, तंजानिया. चलो मैं कह रहा हूँ कि ये बात वेल टेकन है. नाउ आई गो अ स्टेप फर्दर. सपोज you are the chief officer on such a vessel where this scenario is taking place. What will be your action? Think.
Sir, I will double check the figures first from my side, but if the surveyor is saying that I wanted to stop the cargo, I wanted to take allege, I will
Okay.
do check my lodigator. I will do check my lodigator what the figures are there. If possible, I will check the records from where I am giving the values to them so that I can cross check that whether my officer is doing some mistake or the really there is some error in the like the in the discharging. So if I check the lodigator, if I find everything okay, I will do my calculation. I will check the my duty officer's logbook. Sorry, this record, hourly records. That is there any problem in that? If everything is okay, I will convey it to surveyor. But if they want that we want to do allege, how can I stop it? They can take allege whatever they want. They can take alleges. But yeah, it will be terminal stop, not ship stop. That will be shore stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
चल वो कमर्शियल पार्ट छोड़ दो.
But
कमर्शियल पार्ट
same
छोड़
time, sir. Same time, I will give tell this to captain, sir. Same time, I will tell this to captain sir. Captain sir will send the SOF. There will be some one point there that there was a short stop. As well as it is a short stop, then nobody I think so give a problem.
दो. Okay.
But yeah, if it's a tight time of time loading, then it is problem. But still, it's a terminal stop. So I'm not saying to stop the cargo. From my side, everything is okay. But they wanted to stop the cargo for alleging, so that is their concern.
Okay. Okay. I get your point. Now tell me something. Okay, alleges have to be taken. Now, when this thing was happening in Dar es Salaam, where you were there, you say, was somebody from ship also accompanying them to take alleges?
Sorry, sir.
सर्वेयर तो अलेज ले रहा है, राइट, एग्रीड.
सर उसके साथ हम भी जाते हैं सर.
आप भी जाते
उसके
हैं, मतलब
हम
शिप स्टाफ उनको ले
हमारा
रहा
ही पम्पमैन लेता है. हमारे ही पम्पमैन लेते हैं. हम उधर अपनी विजुअल उनको दिखाते हैं कि हम भी क्रॉस चेक कर रहे हैं तुम्हारी जो तुम अलग लिख रहे हो.
है.
वी
ओके.
आर वी आर इक्वली डूइंग द सेम थिंग विद यू. तो अगर
ओके.
कल तुम्हारी फिगर में डिफरेंस हो तो वी कैन से दैट आई वाज द वन हु वाज विटनेस्ड दैट अलज एट दैट टाइम.
ठीक है, ठीक है. तो
दैट इज
मुझे एक बात बताओ, you in the same situation, will you consider increasing manpower as a help to the duty officer for this purpose of taking alleges, frequent alleges, multi-tanks alleges?
आई डिडंट अंडरस्टैंड सर क्वेश्चन सर.
मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि with this scenario where you are required to take alleges, there is an issue in this port. You are required to take multiple alleges frequently. Will you
यस
consider increasing the manpower to help your duty officer?
सर. ड्यूटी ऑफिसर और द डेक स्टाफ दोज हु आर टेकिंग अलेजेस.
या उसी को दोनों सप्लीमेंट करने के लिए.
हाँ जी सर. एक एक दो बंदे तो डालने पड़ेंगे एनी हाउ. इफ द टू पीपल आर डूइंग वॉचेस एंड द थ्री पीपल हैव टू डू वॉचेस बिकॉज it will deteriorate everybody's rest hour if everybody have to come at that time. So
Right.
somebody have to go for that for the alleging at multiple different times. Then somebody else has to do their work. So the shift of the time will go higher. Probably I will try to do that. It will add 1 or 2 hours to everybody instead of giving one person 8 to 10 hours job extra.
Uh, so that is what the thing is, to consider increasing of manpower in a situation like this. This is your job as chief officer. You would consider supplementing manpower to the duty officer so that things can go accordingly. This is something you have to keep in mind.
Yes, sir. But then the rest of points also comes, sir.
देखो रेस्ट आवर्स बाद में आएंगे
अगर
मे बी।
प्रैक्टिकली बात करोगे सर फिर तो वो भी आ जाता है सर, बिकॉज सर हर कोई तो आएगा नहीं हर बार पे। एक पंपी को मैं वॉच पे नहीं रखता हूँ, उसको मैं कहता हूँ कि भाई एलिस तू लेगा, ठीक है, हाँ उसके साथ एक ड्यूटी अभी ऑलरेडी वॉच पे रहेगा, एक ओएस भी रहेगा, ज्यादा
ठीक
से
है,
ज्यादा एक कैच भी रहेगा, और ज्यादा से ज्यादा और रहेगा तो ड्यूटी ऑफिसर की हेल्प करने के लिए मैं भी सीसीआर में हर टाइम रहूंगा,
ठीक
ठीक
है।
है। तो सर प्रैक्टिकली तो यही होगा अब, क्योंकि क्योंकि सबका ही मेंटेन करना है ना, तो
देख, है मानता हूँ, लेकिन इस समय आपका प्राइमरी ऑब्जेक्टिव
इस
क्या
समय
होगा?
मैं तो यही कहूंगा कि मैं आ जाता हूँ सीसीआर में, ठीक है, आई टेक ओवर फ्रॉम यू, इफ इट इज रिक्वायर्ड ड्यूटी ऑफिसर कैन गो ऑन डेक, और इफ इट्स अ डिफिकल्ट टाइम वो सिचुएशन, चलो ड्यूटी ऑफिसर सीसीआर में रहे क्योंकि मुझे भी जरूरत है, तो चलो
हाँ,
मैं इसमें हूँ, मैं एक बंदा डेक पे और डाल दूंगा।
ठीक है, ठीक है।
हाँ जी। बाकी जो सर है ना अपने कप्तान साहब होंगे सर, उनको भी थोड़ा बहुत कर लेंगे,
किसको?
ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम होगी तो।
लास्ट पार्ट आपने क्या कहा, किसको?
मैंने कहा सर ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम होगी तो कप्तान साहब भी है ना,
हाँ
तो
हाँ, बिल्कुल।
इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे बीच में,
आना ही पड़ेगा, कोई तरीका ही नहीं है।
तो करेंगे, फिर वो भी कर लेंगे।
तो आना ही पड़ेगा, उसका कोई तरीका नहीं है।
हाँ जी।
आफ्टर ऑल इट इज अ क्वेश्चन ऑफ ऑपरेशन।
हाँ हाँ, कमर्शियल आ गया ना एस्पेक्ट, उसमें तो कैप्टन साहब आ जाएंगे।
अच्छा, एक बात और है कि आपने रेस्ट आवर्स की बात की थी। यू आर द बेस्ट पीपल बिकॉज यू आर डूइंग इट, बट मे बी द रेस्ट आवर्स कैन बी complied with later. Some additional hours can be provided for rest after the sport watch.
सर एडिशनल आवर्स ऑफ रेस्ट, yes
Exception.
sir, yes sir, it can be provided, but the thing is if that operation is continuous for like 3 days, then the three ANSYs will be there which are marked by wetting,
नहीं,
which
अब
will
एक
be,
बात सुनो, एक बात सुनो। लेट अस नॉट इमेजिन heightened things, ठीक है? What I'm saying is categorizing it. First thing, the cargo operation correctly.
हाँ सर
Then comes the
पहला तो सर
question.
कार्गो ही है, पहला कार्गो है, उसके लिए वायलेशन आए दैट इज डिफरेंट स्टोरी, वो रेस्ट आवर्स वायलेट हो ठीक है, रेस्ट तो दे सकता हूँ सर बाद में,
चलो बाद में
बट ऐसा,
देखेगा।
हाँ जी,
फिलहाल तो आपकी प्रायोरिटी है करेक्ट
का,
कार्गो ऑपरेशन।
हाँ हाँ सर कार्गो ही है सर, पहले तो सबसे पहले कार्गो ही है सर।
चलो, anyway, we came to this topic for the reason that in case you had started it saying about Dar es Salaam and your experience, which we have followed, in you, if you are in this case, then you must look very seriously to support your duty officer with additional manpower. Is the thing I was trying to raise.
ओके ओके।
ठीक है? चलो, very good interaction. This is what I wanted, that we must discuss this out. There is no point just going through the slides for nothing. We must exercise and say what else can be done. Then this was standing orders, what we talked about, and we go to night orders. Again, something which you have seen over a period of time as duty officer, the night orders. Now this can be customized. Standing orders, as the name suggests, are standing orders which are applicable to any port, right? Irrespective of which port you are in. Those are the standing orders कि आपने ये तो करना ही है. Like you have standing orders on bridge also. But night orders are customized for that particular port, for that particular night. This is not written generic. This is done oh, night after night. So this is night orders which you will make every night. Night could be anything which you decide. Maybe 2000, 2200, whatever you decide. Then you write the night orders of that particular period of night or date. So this is going to supplement again loading plan and standing orders. Standing orders तो पहले लिखे हुए आपने. You have made everybody sign it as soon as you join the vessel. You have made up standing orders, and those standing orders you have made everybody read, understand, and sign. तो वो तो हो गए standing orders. Then you go to night orders, customized for that particular night. This is again going to only supplement loading plan and standing orders. So this basically will involve update of cargo situation also. The night order can contain a list of tasks which the watch is expected to complete on this particular night, on this particular hour. If this is happening like as you have planned, each of tasks completed should be ruled out with a single line or marked done. so that a record is being kept that this task is done. Night order complied with. A single line and mark done. So even if the chief officer comes around somewhere, नींद खुल गई उसकी, he comes around to have a look, he can see that it is night order, which all things have been already ruled out. And of course, all these will be recorded in the logbook. Logbook entries. Logbook entries should be containing detailed account of cargo loading and other activities. Should be neatly written. There's nothing to pinpoint this. You are well aware. It should contain the names and ratings of the watch personnel. So you draw a plan. That plan, watch schedule, you put it in the logbook also. You put the name of the port, Dar es Salaam. You have got a plan in place. Put the plan also inside the logbook. So everybody is aware that who was doing what in what period of time. Logbook will also contain a brief description of the cargo loading situation at the beginning of the watch, and then subsequently any changes in cargo orders or instructions received during the watch will be documented in the logbook. Now this is something I don't know, maybe customized only. Your SMS, what does it say? Each opening closing of the critical valves or tanks. Should it be documented in the logbook? I'm interacting with you. Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So each start, stop, and resumption. This is there. This has to be there. Each start, stop, resumption, and finishing of cargo loading of any grade and reasons for any stoppage. This, of course, has to go in the logbook.
Yes, sir.
Right. Each start, stop, resumption, and finishing of ballasting. This also is captured. Yeah, this is also there. Many times you do it. Embarkation, disembarkation of longshoremen, foremen, arrival of parts or stores, any significant telephone radio communication, which may not be really true now because you have printouts by GMDS's equipment. Weather observation, yes, you always note down the weather at the end of the watch. Mid watch may not be necessary, but if your SMS says yes, but definitely at the end of the watch, the weather observation. Loading rates or discharging rates, adjustment to sailing time, and the notices given. For a tanker operation, it is a good idea to have inspections done of pump room for any leakages and other critical areas, and lockdown by a simple one-liner pump room inspected, free of all oil or whatever your standard language on board that vessel. Any sightings of oil slicks which are not from the vessel, this should also be locked down. अच्छा इसको मैं थोड़ा अमेंड करूँगा. Do you agree with this? Any sighting of oil slicks which is not from the vessel? What do you say? Do you agree with this sentence? I do not. I will amend it later. But I'm saying sightings of any oil slicks which are not from the vessel is what I have written. But I am just now thinking that this is not correct. How do you know this is not from your vessel? Any oil slick?
वो तो इंजन रूम से कंफर्म करेंगे ना सर.
वो तो कभी नहीं मानेगा. वो कहेगा सब ठीक चल रहा है.
कैसी बातें कर रहे हैं सर, मानेंगे ना पोर्ट पे हो रहा है कुछ तो.
मैं ऐसी बातें कर रहा हूँ जो मैंने देखी है 30 साल. सुनो बात को. मैं कह रहा हूँ इस लाइन को मैं खुद डिसएग्री कर रहा हूँ और मैं क्या कहना चाहता हूँ उसको सुनो. मैं चाहूंगा कि इसको अमेंड करें. कैसे? साइटिंग्स ऑफ एनी स्लिक्स अराउंड द वेसल. Sightings of any oil slicks around the vessel. You cannot say this is not from your vessel. But any oil slick noted around your vessel should be locked down, should be noted, carefully recorded. Later on it can turn around कि ये तो आपकी वजह से, फिर उठेगा सब सवाल उठेंगे कि कोई डिस्चार्ज हुआ था क्या, then you will contact engine room, were they discharging anything, is there any leakage, etc. But first of all, any oil slick which is noted around the vessel should be carefully noted. I will amend this. It is not which are not from the vessel, but any oil slick sighted around the vessel should be noted. इसको कैंसिल कर दो. And of course, vessel's draft, as per the chief officer's standing orders, maybe at the beginning, end of the watch, or maybe he wants one in the middle, in the mid watch, maybe. Then all these drafts are going to be captured in the logbook. Accidents, incidents, extraordinary occurrences, then this should be also recorded. Normally, used to happen from long time previously also, junior officers were interested to write these entries in draft for two purposes. One, so that he also gains experience how entries are made, and secondly, this rough entries can then be faired up by the actual duty officer. Or he can submit these rough entries for review by Master and Chief Officer before entering them in the deck logbook. Once made in the deck logbook, it cannot be altered. Errors should not be overwritten, nothing new should be ruled out, single line, and then initial and new entry made on top or bottom, but not overwritten. And of course, the signature of the watch officer at the end of watch. This is okay, nothing new. Right? So that was about standing orders and night orders. Anything you would like to add to it? Somebody had come up with a good idea about Dar es Salaam, etc. Anything you would say should be added to it?
So alleged comparison हो जाना चाहिए.
Sorry, list.
Alleged comparisons, pressure,
Alleged.
temperature comparisons.
Okay. I thought we talked about it with that case about a port in Tanzania where frequent surveyors were boarding to carry out alleges, right? Okay, if you want to add to it, how will it go in the standing orders or night orders?
The night orders में भी होना चाहिए, standing में भी होना चाहिए.
Night order में, what do you want to add? Let's have a small talk about it. What line do you want to include in there? Alleges to be taken frequently, like this, something like this?
So once in a watch, pressure, temperature, and alleged should be compared.
Compared.
Yes, so जैसे हमारा वो radar gauges होते हैं और manual alleges होती हैं जो UTS हम लेते हैं, उससे compare होना चाहिए, comparison होना चाहिए. एक watch में एक बार, और pressure होना चाहिए comparison जो हमारी gauges हैं और अपना meter होता है उससे. Temperature comparison होना चाहिए UTS से और meters, UTS से और radar gauges से.
ठीक है. Okay, point taken. Maybe you can add it over there.
At what time to call? At what time to call chief officer?
हाँ. Right.
कोई
This should go.
स्पेशल टाइम हो या कुछ, या वैसे तो कभी भी बुलाओ, बट कोई स्पेशल टाइम पे बुलाना.
हाँ, तो उसमें एक स्टैंडर्ड लाइन आती है ना बॉस, स्टैंडर्ड लाइन. कॉल मी whenever required or else 050.
नहीं सर, अगर मतलब कोई ऑपरेशन चल रहा है विच इज फिनिशिंग 10 o'clock और स्ट्रिपिंग स्टार्ट होनी है 6 बजे, तो कॉल मी एट व्हेन द एलजी इज एट दिस लेवल एट 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, वो वाला.
This is going to go in night order. It is not going to be a standing order. This is going to go in the night order.
तो नाइट ऑर्डर, हाँ जी नाइट ऑर्डर कह रहा हूँ.
Right. बिल्कुल सही है. देखो कुछ चीजें तो बहुत ही जेनरिक होती है ना. एवरी नाइट ऑर्डर में इंक्लूडेड होगी या स्टैंडिंग ऑर्डर में. नाइट ऑर्डर rather, chief officer will write over there that call me anytime required or else at so and so time. Cargo completion, expected time 0500, call me half an hour prior to that. That you can do, you can add to that. or you can add else or else everything going as per plan. Call me at 0600, the normal time when chief officer would like to wake up. वैसे भी एक्चुअली जब आप लोग जाएंगे when you will become chief vets, you will suddenly realize कि नींद तुम्हें आएगी नहीं, especially for the first few months that you are chief officer. You will be so tensed up that you will hardly sleep because you want to be everywhere. Nothing goes wrong. ये तुम्हारा आइडिया होगा. You will like to be there everywhere. Of course, slowly and slowly you will realize कि ये गलत बात है. Of course, you can't be there every time, and some things you will have to delegate and trust people. वो धीरे धीरे होगा. Slowly and slowly you will realize, but initially you will like to be there every time something is happening.
Yes, sir.
Because the trust and delegation ability takes time to achieve.
हाँ जी सर, सीसीआर में सोना पड़ेगा.
सोते हैं चीफ ऑफिसर्स, कई चीफ ऑफिसर देखे,
सर साथ वाले कमरे में लगा के सोते हैं.
कई देखे हैं जो ऐसा करते हैं. Don't blame them because they are tensed up. They have taken over the responsibility. They are tensed up. And you know who are the chief officers who like this? वो कौन सी ग्रेड होती है चीफ ऑफिसर की? The one who believes that nothing should go wrong. One who takes or assumes responsibility. He takes pride that nothing should go wrong. I am the chief officer. ऐसे लोग सोएंगे. Most of them are going to be like this. Let me put it 90%, 95% will be like this. They don't want anything to go wrong because they take personal pride in seeing everything correctly done.
कैसे मतलब सर, समझा नहीं. कैसे प्राइड कैसे?
प्राइड ऐसे है कि उनके अंदर एक सेंस है कि जब मैं चीफ ऑफिसर हूँ और कार को हैंडलिंग कर रहा हूँ, nothing should go wrong. They
हाँ जी
take
सर.
pride. They
हाँ
take
जी
pride in
सर.
the fact that nothing is going wrong.
सर वो तो जैसे अब कोई थर्ड ऑफिसर भी और वो नेविगेशन वॉच कर रहा है, वो तो ये भी कहता होगा ना कि अब मैं यहाँ पे हूँ तो इस टाइम पे कुछ गलत ना हो, नथिंग शुड गो रॉन्ग.
हाँ,
तो सेम चीज ही हुई ना सर वो तो.
हाँ, सेम चीज. आई डिडंट अंडरस्टैंड सेम चीज है मतलब कैसे डिफरेंट होगी.
तो मतलब इसमें प्राइड नहीं लेते, एक तो सेल्फ प्राइड होता है ना, जो अहंकार बोल देते हैं जिसको.
ये अहंकार की बात नहीं है. ये बात है बिलीफ की कि मेरे टाइम में कुछ
Belief तो
गलत नहीं
आती है,
होगा.
इच्छा सबकी यही है कि कभी कुछ गलत ना हो सर, वो तो है ही सर.
उसी की बात है. देखो एक चीज बताता हूँ, ये सारी चीजें धीरे धीरे आएंगी, स्लोली एंड स्लोली. एज आई सेड इनिशियली when you will become chief officer, I'm not saying it is 100% true for everyone who's sitting here, but for most of us it will be true that you will like to be there every time something is going on. हर जगह तुम दौड़ के पहुंच जाओगे. Slowly and slowly you will realize कि you have to delegate also. You have to trust people. You have to delegate responsibilities. Then of course life will start becoming simpler. But initially you would like to be there every time something is happening. हर चीज में कूदोगे बीच में, which is okay, which is normal reaction, knee-jerk reaction for any new chief officer. Or let me go a step further, for any new master, he also likes to be there every time. You know, in a ownership company which I was joining first time that company I was joining as master, you have different briefings done before you join. You know, pre-joining briefings in the office itself. This office was located in Norway, company was from Norway, and I had different departments to visit during that briefing. In the technical department, I was asked straightforward by that person who was interacting with me, who is the best chief officer on board? ये क्वेश्चन पूछा था उसने. Please understand, who is the best chief officer on board? Luckily, just by good luck, correct answer came to my mind. I said it's going to be me. And he was like, yes, he says. Please understand, even though you are master, even though you are going to be master, please understand that you will be the best chief officer on board. ये बात मेरे साथ रह गई. करीब 30 साल पुरानी बात कर रहा हूँ. 30 नहीं है, 25 साल पुरानी बात है ये, लेकिन ये बात मेरे साथ रुक गई हमेशा के लिए. He said, please understand, you are the best chief officer on board. Although you are master, but you are going to be the best chief officer. What he was trying to say was that you should be taking, initiative to resolve any problem. So that was for master, but for chief officer it is going to be same in the other way around. He is going to take extra steps to ensure nothing goes wrong because he is the chief officer. तो ये है सारी चीजें. But anyway, let's continue to see and address what else is remaining for this. We are almost done. We are almost done. And as you are aware, we had seen the layout of the syllabus. This was the last point in that paragraph. Chief officers, night orders, and standing orders. Some points have come which you can add to it. So, maintain the or objectives of the efficient port watch by designing your orders also, and you will consult procedures given in company procedure manual, SMS, OCIMF guideline for tankers and escort. For tankers, of course, you should familiarize yourself with these booklets, these publications to come up with flight orders or standing orders. These operations should be familiar. Line up, starting, stopping of cargo pumps, ballasting, deballasting operations, which includes line up, starting, and stopping of ballast pumps. Location and operation of all gauging system, cargo operation, location and operation of all gauging system while ballasting and deballasting, because most of the ships now have this system, especially the newly built ones. Newly built मतलब 10 साल पुरानी भी हो, the ones who have got in the CCR itself the uh, gauging for ullages and also line up for ballasting deballasting. Use of calibration tables should be familiar. These are all some points which you will keep in mind.
सर
हाँ जी बोलिए.
सर ये इज गॉट एक बार ऊपर करना सर स्लाइड को प्लीज.
हाँ हाँ ऊपर गया बोलिए. और ऊपर
नहीं सर बस यही देखना था कि आप इज गॉट पढ़ा रहे हो या कोई और
नहीं
topic?
नहीं 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 यार, ये क्या कर रहे हो शिवांग? स्कॉट कहाँ पढ़ा रहे हैं? पहली बात तो ये है कि मैं कभी क्लेम ही नहीं करता मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ. आई एम ओनली इंटरेक्टिंग विद यू, योर चीफ ऑफिसर्स. पहली बात. दूसरी बात ये है कि हमने बात की है, वी आर लुकिंग एट द सिलेबस पॉइंट ऑफ चीफ ऑफिसर्स, नाइट ऑर्डर्स, स्टैटिक ऑर्डर्स. So when we are designing standing orders or night orders, this line was written that you must take into account reference to be made to company procedure manual or OCMF guidelines or ISCOT or maybe
Okay, sir.
SM. That was the point. ISCOT नहीं पढ़ रहे. That is not the subject at all for today. Then you should appropriate communication should be maintained with shore people, which is what I said, transparent communication and very good communication levels so that nothing goes wrong. As I said, most of the accidents, if you go back, most of the accidents, you cannot say 100%, but most of them have been caused due to lack of communication, which has proved a vital error. Lack of communication do lead to accidents. So these are some points you should also consider and make sure that your duty officer also understands, like ballasting, deballasting of tanks to be carried out as per plan and appropriate records to be maintained. This can cause trouble, especially if you do not finish on time, then charterers can come back and say it is all because your ballasting and deballasting delayed. So it has to be appropriately, record has to be appropriately kept. तो एक बात और है, this cannot be missed out. Duty officer should explain the visitor about safety precautions to be followed. He should be explained, irrespective whether he has been on board or not. The duty officer should explain to the visitors the safety procedures to be followed. In fact, if you watch anybody going out on deck, he's a visitor, he should be donning safety helmet, safety shoes, etc. Because the onus or responsibility for his safe stay on board again rests with the vessel. He can easily charge the vessel for negligence. Okay, so these are some points. We are still going through it. We take a Kit Kat, coffee break. We come back and meet at 15:45. Okay, 15:45 we start again. You can have a Kit Kat and coffee break.
Thank you, sir.
So I think more or less you can devise standing orders and night orders, like this to continue and to wind it up. Your standing orders will contain the words that vessel is to be secured, moved to the berth at all times, position of access ladders, gangway, accommodation, wharf ladders, etc. to be checked frequently. Mostly, I feel that you have already undergone this and you can easily pen down some points if a question is asked or regarding chief officers, night orders, or standing orders. Again, very generic things, which is always there, like duty AV to take fire rounds, also attend to mooring ropes, fire wire for a tanker is properly rigged at all times, height above water level is adjusted whenever required due to tide or draft. Appropriate lighting is provided. Intrinsically shaped lights. Allege soundings of all tanks during cargo and blast operations to be monitored, recorded. One thing very important, which you will use it, is that the tech officer, duty officer will inspect the manifold at regular interval for any pressurized line, abnormality, etc. Manifold should also not be ignored, should be inspected regularly. Double check for manual soundings. Just do not rely heavily on the remote gauges. There could be false alarm situations, but do not assume false alarm situation. Any alarm is to be investigated clearly. Unless proved false, you will not assume it could be a false alarm. You will investigate, find it is false, and then eliminate it. SOAPEX equipment always properly rigged and ready for use. And of course, the more not so significant but always important ones: no smoking, naked light, intrinsically safe equipment, etc. This is important. Use of cameras and mobile phones to be strictly prohibited. You must not allow this for any visitor also. Cameras and mobile phones, because this can go against you or against the vessel. Appropriate signals including Bravo if you are on a tanker should be done from, or maybe night signal, red light during night. You must ensure even before you take over the watch that all walkie-talkie sets for internal communication are fully charged and are available. This is also something very important, which I think you are doing it every time. This one. LSF is going to be clearly in a state of readiness. In the port logbook or the official, that is the tech logbook, these timings will always figure. Manifold connection, disconnection, times, cargo intake, pumping increased or decreased, stoppages due to weather, commencement and completion of gauging, sampling, etc. All this has to come in the tech logbook or the port logbook, whatever is the system followed by you on board your vessel. In your standing order or maybe night order, this line is very necessary. Do not hesitate to call additional deckhands for assistance at any time. This should be a very intrinsic, very integral part of your orders. And the crew is available for at your disposal. Pollution is a big problem, very much financial impact. So any incident, even if it is a small doubt, should be raised immediately. So you can write an answer to the question in case it appears device, night orders, or standing orders as chief officer. This can be addressed now, no issue. I think you have enough points. What we saw just now, you can devise an answer, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In which case, we can move on to another topic. Of course, we'll see we can complete, but let's see. No point in wasting time. So we move on. We move on to a topic which is called fumigation.
काफी हो गया सर आज का सर।
सर आज के लिए काफ़ी है सर, बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया सर, यही नहीं हो पाएगा आज में तो।
यस सर।
Hey, Shivang, I take your point, but you understand it is not even 1600 now. अभी 4 भी नहीं बजे।
सर हम लिख देंगे सर, आप 4:30 बजे हम वो लिख देंगे, यस द क्लास इज फॉलोड अप टू 16:30 16:45 आवर्स सर। थक गए सर अब।
बेटा बैठा ही तो था।
बैठे बैठे ही तो थक गए सर। अगर सुबह से ही बैठे हुए, जिसमें 4 क्लासेस थी सर आज कार्गो की, आप सोचो हम पे कितना प्रेशर रहा होगा।
अच्छा शिवांग, ये बात तुम्हारी मैं समझ गया, पर तुमने मेरा पॉइंट अप्रिशिएट नहीं किया। मैं भी तो बैठा हूँ
सर। आप सब जने आप जैसे थोड़ी हो सकते हैं सर। और सर वोट आउट करवा लो क्लास में किसको बैठना है सर, अगर ज्यादा डेमोक्रेसी। अब तो थक गए सर, अब तो ऊपर से जा रही हैं चीजें भी।
अच्छा
हाँ सर, थक गए आज के लिए सर, काफी है।
यार ये तो गलत बात है यार, आप बात ही नहीं समझ रहे। आप तो फिर भी चुप बैठे हो ना, मुझे तो कंटिन्यूअस बोलना है। तो
हाँ जी सर, वही तो कह रहे
समझ
सर,
गए
आप
सर।
भी तो सर वही कह रहे हैं ना, अब आप भी रेस्ट कर लीजिए और दूसरों को भी कर लेंगे।
अच्छा, तो ये जो आप बोल रहे हैं ये मेरे लिए था एक्चुअली।
नहीं सर,
तो
सर
कंसिडरेशन को भी।
घुमा घूमू के बात नहीं सर, हमारे सबके लिए ही था, इवन आपको इंक्लूडेड करके हमारे लिए भी था।
अच्छा एक काम करो, लेट मी कम टू वन कंक्लूजन। आई एग्री, आई टेक योर पॉइंट दैट यू आर टायर्ड। ठीक है, कभी कभी होता है, एवरी डे इट विल नॉट बी एन इशू, ये बात समझ लो। ठीक है, आज के लिए मैं समझ गया, यू आर टायर्ड एंड यू आर नॉट
ओके सर,
रिसीविंग,
ओके थैंक।
राइट। बट रुक जा चेतन, रुक जा। ऐसा करते हैं,
तो
as discussed, we can have a
मैंने नहीं बोल,
not today, but we can have a small assessment done, which will happen maybe tomorrow. I will let you know. So उसके लिए what I am planning is to give you a write up of about 4 or 5 questions which you will attempt, and you will do this by an open book, means you will go to the link, surf the link, and the question answer will be located there. तो ऐसा कीजिए, revise, start revising to use this time. The link, the notes which have been passed on, start revising them on the link. ठीक है. और अभी के लिए क्या करेंगे कि I will pass on this also to you what we have discussed today, so that you can revise that also. To use this time from 1600 to 1645. You can
Okay,
check
sir.
out only at 1645. This is very categorically
Okay.
Yes, sir.
you cannot
Yes.
leave the class before 1645. Okay, so I'm going to
Thank you,
put it here in the chat box to put it on record that you revise notes from link. Notes from link as self-study. Till 1645. जी ये करिए, revise the notes from as self-study till 1645, since all of you are opining tiredness. Get the point?
हाँ सर, ओके, ठीक है सर.
Okay, dear.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Righto, righto. लिंक तो एक्सेसिबल है, लिंक तो एक्सेसिबल होगा ऑब्वियसली. तो ये जो बात हो रही थी ना आज रिगार्डिंग पोर्ट वॉच कीपिंग, इसको भी डाल रहा हूँ मैं लिंक पे. यू कैन कंफर्म दैट यू हैव रिसीव्ड इट.
सर जो ये आज पढ़ाया है ना सर, वो भी डाल देना प्लीज.
हाँ जी, वही कर रहा हूँ. आई एम ऑन द जॉब. Kindly confirm you can see it. Done. Already passed. I will log back again. I will come back again. Just leaving for a minute. I need to serve something. I will come back again. You continue with your revision. Okay.